Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here again today with another video in our Pluto series. And today we're going to be talking about Pluto in the 5th house, and this seems to be a really popular Pluto placement. There's a lot of people out there in the community who have this and are requesting for this video, and yes, I'm super excited to talk about it because it is a very interesting place to have Pluto. So before we get started, I have made an introduction video to this Pluto series, and I highly recommend that you check out that video first. So I'll post a link to that up above in the description box below. You can watch that and then come back and watch this video. And it just started pouring. There's thunder and lightning just when I'm about to start filming my Pluto in the 5th house video. Think about the synchronicities there. So if you have Pluto in the 5th house, your greatest transformation is coming through your connection with the creative source. Meaning that if you can't connect with the creative source, you will be in the shadow vibration of this Pluto placement. You will be going through the fears and the insecurities of this Pluto placement. And so, because the 5th house is the house that is traditionally ruled by the sun and ruled by Leo, so it is a house that has a lot to do with the ego in astrology. And Pluto is that planet that is all about needing security through other people's resources, meaning that through other people's resources, if you have Pluto in the 5th house, can feel like your ego is being boosted. And the particular resources of other people that this Pluto placement makes you search or seek for are resources that have to do with something that feeds your expression. Meaning that this can be in terms of like putting out a creative work and having recognition, having feedback in the way that you would like to have. That is one way of getting a particular resource. This can be through romantic encounters, because when you're in a romantic relationship, that's very much, you need to use your creativity there. Getting the types of recognition, the type of attention through romantic relationships that you would like to have. And, sometimes this can be in terms of taking a risk, being able to take a risk, appear as somebody who is risky, and then being able to either take a risk with money, because the 5th house does rule speculative businesses, and then seeing a return in that, and then that feeds the ego. Or being able to have children, through children, being able to assert a certain amount of control over children, your children, so that you can get the right type of recognition for that. So these are particular different avenues, but they all amount to the foundation of creativity and the creative self-expression. They're all linked to that. And so if you have this Pluto placement, you may feel quite often, a lot of the times, that you have a special purpose or a special destiny in this life, and you may not always be sure, or it may not always be clear what that is. But because you feel so, because the security is so much strongly associated with the ego, it almost is a compulsive need to let the world know that you are special, to let the world know that there's something special about you, and have the world recognize you for your specialness and your uniqueness. That really feeds the security needs of this egoic Pluto placement. Therefore, a couple of things that may really trigger the activation of this Pluto placement is, the first thing is, when you're growing up, you may notice that when your parents gave attention to other people, like a sibling or other children, more than you, if you have Pluto in the 5th house, you may have noticed that you were quite disturbed by this. And you may even do things sometimes to get negative attention, or try to get the attention of your parents back to you. Other things that may trigger this Pluto placement is when you create what is considered to be kind of like your inner pyramid structure. So you feel like, you want to build your creative potential, you want to produce a particular, artwork or creative work, your expression in one way or another, and you have a very unique expression, definitely. But if you're getting a bit obsessive with this, it's like you're crafting this pyramid from the ground up. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. You know, the process that builds up this inner pyramid of creativity within you is very solid. But the thing is that not everybody's going to be able to see, you know, the work behind the scenes that you've put in, and some people may just only see the surface of that pyramid, and therefore, you know, people may not, they're never going to be able to give you the right, the overwhelming amount of feedback, of compliments, of recognition that you deeply feel you deserve. Because the truth is that you are not the only one in this world who is unique in your expression. You are unique in your expression in your own way, and you are unique, but everybody is also unique. So you see, when this Pluto placement is so overly controlled by the ego, it can make it seem to you unconsciously like your work is more special, or that your expression is more unique than other people, and that there's a sense of specialness about you that other people don't match up to. So therefore, when you're not getting the type of recognition that you had so expected that you would get, when you have this Pluto placement, you may have an extreme reaction, meaning you may completely throw away that piece of work. You may destroy that piece of work. You may never want to do it again. You may change the course of where you're heading with regards to your purpose completely. You know, you may never even start because of the fear that when you do start, you're not going to get the recognition that you were so deeply hoping you deserve, and this is unconscious. So think about like an artist, you know, who puts like, I don't know, like 12 hours a day painting, right? And they've been painting for about a month, 12 hours a day. You know, Pluto in the 5th house can make you do that. You show your work to other people. You yourself can see the pyramid structure. You can see your own pyramid, right? But nobody else can see that. Most people just see the finished product, or they just see the surface of it, and they say, wow, that is beautiful. But no, 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 no. If you have this Pluto placement, you're probably hoping for a compliment that sounds a little bit like, you were the best ever painter, and this painting changed my life. It made me cry, and I will never ever in my life see anything like this again. You're so special. I mean, this is unconsciously what you're hoping to hear, but the truth is that you never hear that. You never hear it, because the people who are looking at your work, they've also seen other artwork out there, or other creative work, and it's just human nature to compare. And when they compare, they definitely see something very unique in your work, but they also saw something else unique in other people's work. And so they can't give you that type of compliment. It's just like, it's not realistic. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But just because that, you know, you didn't get that type of recognition does not mean that your work meant nothing. There could have been someone out there who saw your work, and that day, you know, they were about to, let's say they were like feeling very sad, and they, you know, they was having a really bad day. They may have even wanted to do some self-destructive behaviors, but the moment they saw your work, they may have just decided to live again, but they may not have said anything to you. Or the expression they gave you may not sound like what you had hoped. They may have just simply said, your work made my day. You don't know. You don't know. But just because you don't know does not mean that your work hasn't done anything to anybody. And in love affairs, this is very interesting, because there's a reason why this placement makes somebody very seductive in love affairs. It's because there's an underlying reason behind it. And the thing you have to understand is that love and obsession is not the same thing if you have this Pluto placement. When you're obsessed about somebody, and when you're putting your whole heart and soul, and you're like devoting a lot of your life in particular relationships and love affairs, really ask yourself, are you doing it because you need some attention? Because if you're working with this Pluto level, this Pluto placement from like a lower vibration, you see, when you're with somebody, you know, in a committed relationship for a certain period of time, your partner's not going to be able to give you that intense attention like the way that they could give you when they first met you, like the first month or week when they first met you, because that's just relationships. We have to put our attention and our energy into other things. You know, we can't always devote our attention and our energy into that one particular partner. And so if there is somebody else that comes into your life and they begin to give you a certain amount of attention, if you have this Pluto placement and it's at the lower vibration, you may kind of like you may want that person's attention more than your partner's, and there may be behaviors that are a little bit obsessive into getting the new partner's attention, if you see what I mean. But it's because the unconscious working of Pluto is letting you know that it was a relationship based on needs, and love is not about getting what you need. Love is about giving unconditionally. Obsession is about needing something from another person. So once you get what you need, once you got the attention that you were craving to get, and that kind of feeds your ego a little bit, and once you get to express your creativity in that particular, you know, love affair, the need is fulfilled. And when the need is fulfilled, we as human beings will go looking for needs to be fulfilled elsewhere. So that's kind of like the low vibration of this Pluto energy. So to kind of raise the vibration, it's really about understanding when it comes to creativity and when it comes to expression that you are unique already in your own way, but other people are also unique in their expression, and everybody is special. But if you just put yourself out there and you embrace the totality of the human expression, like let's say that you are that artist, right? And you have a painting and then you put your work in a workshop. And you know, with this Pluto placement, you tend to like look at other people's work and you may think, yeah, that work is not as great as mine. No, and then, you know, you could be like coming from your judgment, that could be true for you, but it's not going to be true for everybody, because creativity is just creativity. Creativity is endless and it's boundless, and sometimes it's personal and unique and special to whoever's looking at it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So there are like standards in which people are going to use to measure artwork, and you may feel that you have met everything, and other people, when it comes to their expression of their creativity, this is going back to that example of the painter, they haven't met the criteria, right? Maybe they don't have a good eye for beauty. Maybe it's the composition is not quite right. Maybe you feel like they don't have enough skills when it really comes to painting, but there could be somebody else out there who loved that person's work, and you gotta be like, there's something there. There's something there that you may not see, and that's okay. That the person who has expressed themselves creatively has done it with courage. Courage. Fifth house also rules taking a risk. Everybody who is expressing themselves very uniquely, very originally, is always going to be prone to resistance, prone to criticism. But if you have done that, you have been very courageous. You have been very brave. And so respect for, you know, what a particular person had to go through in order to bring out their creativity. Respect for them will cause you to respect yourself as well. Respecting yourself in a sense that put yourself out there, express yourself, you know, as creatively as you can. Just do it. Don't destroy your work the moment you don't get the recognition you're hoping for. Don't stop yourself the moment you feel like the work is not going to give you the type of recognition that you had hoped. Because there is always a divine creative source behind what you're creating. You see, if you were just born here in this world, right? And you were born into a desert and there was nothing around you, and you were the first generation in this earth, what would you create? And there was nobody else around you. What would you create? You wouldn't even know what to create. The reason why you have creativity inside yourself in the first place is because you have been inspired by something. You've been inspired by something in your environment. You've been inspired by other people. You've been inspired by your ancestors. You've been inspired from the divine. You're never alone. It's never just you in your expression, in your creative expression. You're always co-creating with the source. You're always co-creating with the divine. And if you have this Pluto placement, your work is most powerful when you can align it, when you can align your purpose, the sense of mission, with a societal contribution. That is when it is most powerful. And you, of all other like Pluto placements, have the most potential to be able to find out what it is that you're meant to do here in this world. What is your life purpose here? And how are you going to align that life purpose with what the society needs in order to advance? The 11th house, the opposite axis of the 5th house. If you could see that everybody is as special as you, everybody is as unique as you, there's going to be more of this energy of this Pluto to really serve and to really help others. Do you see what I mean? Like if you, let's say you're a teacher, right, and you want to be creative in the classroom, but you feel like the students aren't that special, like I'm more special, I'm more unique, there's not going to be this as much of an energy to actually help. You see what I mean? But if you can feel that, like all the students in my class, they have a reason why they're coming to study from me, and they're all special and they all deserve my creative expression and my work, there's going to be this beautiful connection that you can have with your audience, with the people that you would like to give your work to, with your clients, with the people you want to express to, with your romantic partners even. If you're secure with your creative self-expression and you're no longer insecure, like with what Pluto can be, and you're very secure, you're going to be somebody who is also secure in romantic relationships, meaning you no longer need to seek for the attention in romantic relationships because you are aligning your energy and your purpose with something greater than yourself, with a social cause, with a social agenda, with a particular way of helping the world. If you have Pluto in the 5th house, when you can connect with what the world needs in order to progress and you can create in accordance with that, you're going to be somebody who can produce work that is legendary. Your expression is legendary. You may continue to be well known after you die. I mean, Pluto rules death. When you're gone, people will still remember you and your contribution. And even when you're alive, they will view you as somebody who has made work that really touches them deep inside their soul, that your expression is one with their expression, that, you know, within you, they see themselves. And this is true creativity. It is when other people can see themselves, can lose themselves in your work, and they feel one with you. And so they no longer feel alone. They no longer feel pain or hurt. They're healed. They're healed from your work. So there's a really psychological element that your work can engender in your audience. Because your work ultimately has the power of transformation. Your expression has uncommon depth that can transform and change people's lives. So, beautiful souls, that is going to be my interpretation of Pluto in the 5th house. If you have this particular placement, do comment below and let us know what your experiences has been. And the moment I'm finishing filming, the sky is clearing because you've gotten out of the shadow into the enlightenment of Pluto in the 5th house. So yes, If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't. If you already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along. I do birth chart readings, synastry, and relationship readings. All the information is on my website. You can check that out. And yes, yes, I'll see you very soon then, beautiful souls. Bye.